Welcome to Build Better with Duda, where we pull back the curtain and show you how our agency Develomark uses Duda's platform to drive real results. In every single video, we walk you through the best practices, strategies, and processes that help us deliver better websites, better marketing, and better client outcomes. Today, we're taking you through a real project with one of our clients, Manny Roofing, a local roofing company, to show you exactly how we approach what we call revisionless design and how it helps us build faster, smarter, and with fewer revisions. I'm Ruan Marinho, founder of Develomark, and in this series, we make content for other agencies who want to take it to the next level with the Duda platform. Manny Roofing, a local roofing company here in Connecticut and a new Develomark client. We prefer to work with clients in our exact service area, even though we can work nationwide. They came to us looking for a new website design, one designed for conversions, optimized around their target keyword, and aligned with their business goals of generating new leads through the web. Like with every project that we work with, we like to focus on something called revisionless design, meaning we listen so carefully in the beginning that when we show them the new site, we barely need to go back and forth after it's built. A lot of designers go through something called scope creep, and after this video, you're gonna have a lot less than that.
Our goal at Develomark is always to achieve what we call revisionless design, which is where, based on the conversations we have earlier with the client on what their priorities are and what's important to their business, we try to listen to those things carefully so that when we get to the design, we already know what to prioritize and what to put forward and what is less important to the client.
Okay, so let's start by looking at the relationship we built with Manny Roofing. They were already doing well with digital marketing. One major issue was they could not see what was being typed into their website form, so they weren't allowing users to get in contact with them. When they came to us, their organic traffic was trending upward, and that was an important indicator. Many times this is a golden situation for an agency because by just redoing their website the right way, you're going to get them a much better return with the efforts that they are already doing. We always start by looking at the client's current performance to understand where they're winning and where they're losing, allowing us to show them where we can improve. If we can't create a gap of success from where they are, it could be difficult to communicate where we are going. We also track everything. It's worth making the time to do so. It's often the agency's defense mechanism for proving your value. Here's the formula to pay attention to. Your agency retainer plus ad spend divided by the total number of leads, that gives us the average cost per lead. It's the only way to make sure you're delivering real results and justifying the client's investment in your service. And the best part of it is, if you do this well, it's easier to ask your clients for bigger rates. We wanted to look at where they started from. The few metrics that I really love to check whenever I work with a new client is domain authority, traffic, GoDaddy Who Is information, and the keywords they're already ranking for. Their domain was only about 3 years old, and newer sites usually have a harder time ranking than older sites. That's something we check on every project because it helps us predict SEO performance long term. Their old website wasn't broken, it just lacked the kind of personalization that helps a brand stand out. Remember, the visitor is already visiting the website. It's time to pitch them, and if it's a generic pitch and it's not convincing, they will choose another roofing company because there are thousands of them out there. And that's exactly what we set out to fix. Now let's talk about strategy. Every good campaign has to start with a clear and concise strategy. It's important to note we don't just do SEO alone. I wouldn't recommend that for any agency. Ensure you're running the website, the SEO, and the ads at the same time, especially if you're committing to the client that they're gonna get results. We start by identifying critical keywords that Manny Roofing needed to win on and made sure that the paid ads were part of the strategy from day one. Keyword research tools are really great for this. Perform keyword research on every type of service that the client does, and then implement those keywords onto your website pages, your digital campaigns, and onto the videos that you upload onto YouTube and Meta ads. Once things are live, we track the performance often, monitoring form submissions, watching where traffic is coming from, and recording and listening to their phone calls. If the design of the website is not simple, this can quickly become a mess to track. I recommend making less pages, but higher quality because everything becomes easier. The design approach is simple. Focus on what makes Manny Roofing unique. Clients are much more likely to approve the design if it is completely unique to who they are and it doesn't look like the thousands of other roofing websites out there. Keep in mind, your client has seen millions of websites in the last decade or so they have a general good understanding of what makes a website unique or not subconsciously. In this case, we used their mascot Ariel heavily across the new Duda site. Try to find the assets that only your client has and make those front and center. We had used the video assets that they had invested in, put those at the front of the website. A major part of Develomark's service is to go to the client directly, get photos and videos, and as you know, professional custom photos and videos always perform better than stock photos and videos. The idea is to always theme the online presence around the business's unique selling proposition. What the ads are saying should also reflect this. Check these ad proof for an example of ad consistency. So don't just make something that looks nice, quote unquote, but ultimately the measure of success is the client's feedback on your design.
One of the key performance indicators that we track when it comes to achieving revisionless design is how many comments the site will get from the client in feedback. When we are ready to potentially show the client their website, we send them commenting access so they can leave feedback throughout the entire website. This tool allows people to add comments exactly where they want to add feedback. This allows our team to see exactly where they're mentioning their feedback. When we look at the comments, ideally, we are looking to get as little comments as possible and filter out a lot of these comments during the actual design process, so it's not a big surprise when we do reveal the website. When we get an email from a client that reads this, we know that we did a good process in following revisionless design, which is ultimately bringing them through a very proper and extensive design process.
Once the site goes live, we keep monitoring the performance. If you're an agency getting paid on a month-to-month basis, the best way to demonstrate your value is to monitor and report of that performance on an ongoing basis. I personally do this through text messages, through sending screenshots, through Zoom meetings, and through regular in-person check-ins. We especially monitor the homepage of the website. This is where we can A/B test, because no matter how big your site is, most of the traffic will land on your homepage. We have also been experimenting with the idea of having a website that's just one page. Our data shows us that most of the traffic visits the homepage, and a user can generally find all of the information they need from one page. Unless, of course, it's a service-specific landing page that we're running ads to. And guys, the results speak for themselves. Manny Roofing not only left us a positive Google review talking about how happy they were with the process and the final product, but here's also what the co-owner of Manny Roofing said.
I think Develomark did an awesome job with the design and all the content that we wanted in there. Every little detail that we wanted, they went above and beyond. With previous marketing companies, communication was always the main issue, and time, getting things done in time. And I think that was the main key that they focused on, was making sure everything was done when they promised and when it was delivered. I think communication and time was key.
The real lesson here is this: revisionless design comes from doing the hard work up front, really understanding the client's goals and building a site around them, making it a point to have multiple touch points with them so at the grand reveal, they're not surprised with what they see. When you do this, you don't get endless rounds of feedback and revisions, allowing you to start collecting new agency revenue as soon as possible. You get happier clients, faster launches, and the best, more profitability for your Duda agency. Thanks for watching this episode of Build Better with Duda.